Welcome back to Amp Jitsu. Now you may be asking, what is the alternating movement pattern and why is it so important for mixed martial arts and being able to defend yourself? Well, the alternating movement pattern is the fundamental movement pattern of martial arts itself. Almost every single martial arts technique, whether you're talking about striking and throwing a punch or a kick, or even defending a punch or a kick, you're going to be alternating. Okay, the same thing happens when you go for a takedown or defend a takedown. Same thing happens when you pass the guard or defend the guard pass. You're using the alternating movement pattern when you do all of those things because the alternating movement pattern is more efficient, more powerful, and more balanced than non-amp patterns. Non-alternating movement patterns. You know what I'm saying, okay? So in mixed martial arts, there's two different things that you basically have to do in order to defeat the opponent. You have to move yourself to a superior position, and then also you need to apply some sort of force to the opponent. So now imagine that beating the opponent means being able to be in the right position, in the right place, and also to be able to apply force. So now imagine that winning a fight is all about getting yourself to the right place and the right position before the opponent can. So you're going to need to move with speed and power, but you're also going to have to be efficient so you don't run out of energy. And you want to be balanced so the opponent doesn't take you off balance. Or to apply pressure to the opponent, you still need to have power, efficiency, and balance. You're likely to lose the fight if you don't have efficiency, power, and balance when you move to the correct position and when you apply that pressure to the opponent. Now, what kind of pressure am I talking about? Well, the most simple and easy way to think about this is through punches, okay? Now, when somebody throws a punch, do they throw both hands at the same time, lacking rotation in the body, not oscillating from one side to the other, and not extending and contracting alternately? No. Yes. Well, no. They don't use both hands. They use one at a time, right? And that's because putting all of your force into one hand makes it more powerful. Okay, if I spread out my force and I punch with both, then neither one of my punches is going to knock out the opponent. But if I put all of my force into one hand and I pull back with the other instead of throwing it forward, that allows me to rotate, and that gives me more punching power to knock the opponent out. Now, what about moving to the correct position? Okay, when I move and I step and I need to move from one place to the next, I'm going from one foot to the other. Now, being able to alternate while I move helps me to get to the better position than my opponent. So if my opponent is punching with both hands, and if he's moving with both feet at the same time, instead of moving his head from one foot to the next, I'm going to win. Okay? Now, the same thing happens with kicking. As I kick, notice my whole body is alternating, rotating. Okay? I'm stepping from one foot to the next. Okay? My whole body reciprocates as I kick, okay? Again, same thing with the defense. When I defend myself, when I dodge punches, I'm using that alternating movement pattern. Now, let's talk about takedowns. Wrestling. How do takedowns use the alternating movement pattern? Well, just like striking, I need to be in the right position to be able to take my opponent down. If I try to attack him from right in front of him, straight into him, that's not the right angle. That's not the right position. He's going to defend my takedown. Not only do I have to be in the right position, but I also have to be able to apply generous force to be able to knock my opponent off his feet onto the ground. Okay? So, moving myself into the right position is just like the alternating movement pattern, because I'm basically thinking about when I do a takedown, I'm like trying to run through my opponent, okay? I'm not hopping through my opponent this way, okay? I'm running through my opponent as I shoot my takedowns. As I go through my opponent, I'm putting one foot in front of the other. All right, now, as I'm applying force to my opponent, some people may think the takedown is here where I'm putting both of my arms back and I'm putting both of my shoulders forward. But it's really that as I do my takedown and as I shoot, I'm pushing one shoulder forward here. And then as I take my next step, I'm going to be using my head to push into the opponent. Just like if it was another punch or another push with my shoulders. The same thing happens when you defend your takedowns. Okay, when the opponent goes for my leg, I block, I bring one leg back, I keep one leg forward. Sometimes I'll bring both legs back, and when I do that, I'm also going to be turning to my side. Okay, why do I want to turn to my side? Because it's more powerful, it's more efficient, and it's more balanced. All right. The other thing is that it allows me to strike or to put pressure into my opponent faster. Okay, so when I put one hip down, that allows me to bring the other hip down faster. When I throw with one punch, this punch is ready here. Okay, so when somebody throws, let's say they throw punches with both hands, they have to load both hands and punch again. So their frequency is half as my frequency when I'm throwing punches with both hands. So now let's talk about the type of pressure or the position that you need to be in Jiu-Jitsu to be able to defeat your opponent. All right, so in Jiu-Jitsu, we have somebody that's typically up and somebody that's down on their back, right? And so when I'm talking about pressuring my opponent and getting around my opponent, I'm basically running around my opponent, right? If I'm here down on the ground and I'm trying to get around my opponent to the other side, I'm not going to do it like this. I'm not going to do it like this here, okay? I'm going to be running, right? I'm here like this. I want to go around my opponent. I'm going to run around, okay? Now, pressure on the opponent. How do I pressure my opponent? Well, it's just like punching. If I want to pressure my opponent with ample power, with balance, and with efficiency, then I'm going to amp. I'm going to turn. I'm going to apply pressure with one of my shoulders or maybe one of my arms. Whatever it is, I'm going to do it with one side instead of both sides. Okay? So that's how you understand. In Jiu-Jitsu, striking, and in takedowns, boxing, kickboxing, Jiu-Jitsu, submissions, wrestling, whatever you want to call all of those things where you're getting in the right position and you're applying pressure to the opponent, it's all the same. It's the same movement pattern. It's the alternating movement pattern. Okay, so if being able to defend yourself and not allow somebody to hurt you if they attack you, then you want to train and you want to practice the alternating movement pattern. So if any of that interests you, being healthier, better looking, more badass, more intelligent, all the things that alternating movement pattern can do for you, then you want to be doing my workout. Okay? And if you want to do my workout, then you want to go to ampjitsu.com and sign up. All right, guys, I'll see you there.